Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Michelle Barra. I spent 25 years working in the TV and film industry, grew disillusioned, so 2 years ago I decided I wanted to build an online business, and I've since built a successful online business. So today I wanted to talk to you about exactly that, how I transitioned, how I made the decision that I made, why I made it, and how I've started to build the business as I've got it today. Now, what I will say to you is that I had no experience at all in running an online business 3 years ago, none. I have learned by doing it. It is a separate business to this channel, and the reason why I built this is because I saw a need that there are plenty of other people in a similar position to me who are disillusioned, who are unhappy in the job that they're in, and I wanted to talk to them and show them in a genuine way how I've managed to do it. This is not about me selling you a course which I'm then making money off to tell you how to create a remote business. I have a separate remote business to all of this. So I learned the hard way. I made mistakes. I tried every type of angle you can think of, and so what I want to do is show you the mistakes that I made and show you how you can avoid them and give you some pointers to get you started. So there was a recent survey done that 70% of people are unhappy in their jobs. Now, what I will say is, and I think this is really important as well, is that work is called work because that is what it is. It is work. It's not necessarily supposed to be fun. But what I do think, regardless of what you do, whether you clean a shop floor, whether you're a CEO of a huge corporation, whatever it is you do, I do think that you shouldn't be fearing, you shouldn't be feeling down every time you go into work, you shouldn't feel disillusioned, you shouldn't feel like it is the worst thing to be going in. It doesn't have to be your favourite thing to do. Even since I've built my online business, there are elements to what I do which I enjoy less than I enjoy others. But I have built a lifestyle and I've built the life that I actually want. And I also felt as well that after all my years of experience and everything that I'd done and all the input that I'd put in, it wasn't appreciated. And what I've now learnt to do is build a business online where I am appreciated and people do value what I offer them. And it's on my own terms. It is when I want to do it. I block my calendar out as and when I want to. Don't get me wrong, the reality is I still have to work, so I still need to bring money in the door, but it is on my terms. All of it is on my terms. That is the difference it can make when you start your own business. Around the time of the pandemic, when the film industry went on its knees, I sort of was sitting at home one day and I thought, what am I going to do? And so I decided to create a capsule wardrobe challenge in a Facebook group. Now, I did this because I was bored and I didn't know what else to do, and within a week 1,000 people had joined this group. Now, there's obviously two reasons for that. One, everyone was sat home with nothing to do, but two, it was obviously a need for it. So I thought, right, okay, this is interesting. So whilst I actually thought, right, I've actually got to do these videos now, I was going to do 4 videos over 4 weeks and talk to people about how to build a capsule wardrobe. I thought, I've actually got to do it now. Whilst I was doing that, I also built a website with a membership on the side of it, and I pitched the membership to the people that did this challenge at the end of it. So I decided to do that kind of straight off, and then I pitched it to the people, and a few people joined. I was charging them diddly squat. This was one of my first mistakes, but it meant I learned their pain points. It meant I learned a little bit about them, where they needed help, what they needed help with, and I used that to then build my business. It was like free marketing. I was getting paid hardly nothing for it, but it was like free marketing. So by this time, I'd already started this online business and I was already gradually starting to sort of build it up. I would go and do a costume job, and then I would come back and I would carry on doing this business and just sort of keep it loosely ticking over in the background. I tried all the different social media platforms. I built my own website. I learned how to build my website. I learned what kind of software to use for my website. I learned about marketing. I learned about everything myself, which is what I'm going to talk to you about on this channel. And then I did another job where I was sat there one day, and it makes me feel funny now thinking about it, and I just eaten and I was working on my laptop, and suddenly my heart went like that, jumped through the roof, and I nearly blacked out. And to this day, I don't really know what that was, but I called the medic on, and she said my heart rate was really high, but she couldn't determine that there wasn't anything wrong with the rhythm. And I said that my heart rate's probably high because it scared me. The actual situation scared me. And I was then treated appallingly again. And now I kind of looked at that and I thought, right, that's it. I am done. Because I knew that by that point I was already upset by it, and I was already not enjoying it, and I think it was partly stress that caused that to happen. But it was a real big warning. It was a real big like smack in the face, like let's just stop this. So I came out of that, and then I went full pelt into my online business, and within 6 months I had built it to something I could live off. It was earning me like about a third of what I was earning doing costume, which was really well paid. So already within 6 months it was earning me that. So I know when you are looking to get out of a situation, I actually am thinking of 2 people right now who I know who are in a similar situation, who are in a normal kind of like 9 to 5 job, or sort of 12 to 12 job, or 7 to 8 job like the film industry is, which is literally like 12 hours, 14 hours, whatever it is, whatever hours it is you do. I know it's quite scary if you have a regular income coming in and then you are thinking about moving away from that. I know that that can be really quite scary. So what I want to say to you is, don't think it's going to happen overnight. I would gradually build something up in the background like I did. I was doing it for about 18 months, 2 years in between kind of costume jobs. So I would do a little bit of the evening or the weekend if I was working, or whatever it was, whenever I could fit anything in. I would do little bits and I'd test it and I'd watch it and I'd see how people responded to it, whatever it was the offering was, whether it was a bit of marketing, whether it was talking about a particular subject. I would just watch it and monitor it all the time. So what I would say to you is, you don't have to drop it and then move straight onto this online business. I would strongly suggest, it will be difficult, but that for at least a couple of years, you gradually build it up in the background, because that will make a huge difference. Next up, I would strongly suggest you look at the local business networking community in your area. Now, I'm going to do some more videos on this and talk to you about what I did and how it helped me and everything else in a bit more detail. But the thing that I found about this above anything else is, when you talk to people and you say you want to leave the job you're in, particularly if you've done quite well and you're quite high up in your career, and people go, why would you want to leave? You know, it sounds like an amazing job. Why would you want to leave that? And it's really hard to explain to them why you're doing it. When you go and you network with other small business owners, and some of them will be multi-million-pound businesses, others will be literally ideas. The beauty of doing that is you will meet other entrepreneurial people like you who understand why you're doing what you're doing. And the chances are as well, what I find, what's really interesting actually about the business networking arena, is that a lot of people who have started their own business, there has been something that's been quite significant that's happened in their life that's pivoted them towards that direction. You know, since I've done it, I've met some amazing business owners, and actually there's a podcast called Different Hats Podcast, which is run by a friend of mine called Sam Thomas, and he interviews people who have had life-changing experiences usually, and they're all like business owners. So I recommend you have a look at that as well if it's something that you might be interested in. But what you'll often find is a lot of those people will be quite similar to you, and everybody is so supportive of each other because they get it. They understand what it's like and how scary it is, and how, you know, how disillusioned you can be sometimes, how it feels like you're putting so much work in, you're getting nothing back from it, because that will happen. If you decide to do this, it will happen. There will be times where you're putting loads of work in and nothing is shifting. and then suddenly you do something and it just starts to kind of roll. That tiny little kind of piece of snow, tiny little snowflake, just you roll it, it starts to gather something, and it's really, really slow. And then you start to focus on that point. You go, right, okay, what is it that's working about that? So to be really, really brief, the way in which I would start any business is the first thing that you need to think about is what is it that you want to do. So let's say you want to bake cakes and you want to show people how to bake cakes, and maybe you want to sell cakes. So look at other people doing that. Look at what they're doing, look at where they're doing it, look at where they are on social media, look at how they make their money. Try and work that out. You know, do they make money by making videos on YouTube? That's one of the ways I make money. Do they make money just by selling bespoke cakes? You know, what is it they're doing? Because as much as you might think if somebody else is doing it, then you can't doing it. The point is, if somebody else is doing it and they're making money out of it, then so can you. There is a market for it. That's the first thing. Next thing, think of your name. So what do you want to call your company? So I decided my company was going to be called Capsule Closet Stylist. I went through lots of different, I punched it all into Google. The best thing to do is punch it in Google, see what websites come up. Website comes up and it's a working website for that particular name, then chances are that that's probably not a good name for you to go for. But choose something similar. I think I went for Capsule Wardrobe Stylist. I looked at a few different options until I came up with Capsule Closet Stylist, because that embodied the message that I wanted to get across. Now, what was interesting with that as well, I'll just say quickly, is I immediately got an American audience, which I was quite surprised at. And a lot of marketing experts said to me, how did you manage to get an American audience? And I was like, I don't know. But the only way I can think of is because I used the words closet instead of wardrobe in my name. Closet is much more of an American term, so I immediately gained that American audience. So sometimes things like that can happen as well. So think about what you want your name to be. Look at whether there are domain names in that name. Look at whether social media handles are held in that name. And then the next thing you want to do is register it as a trademark. I went to Fiverr. I found images of logos that I liked, and I employed a guy on Fiverr for about, I think, £30 to design me a logo. And we went for a few different changes till I found the one that I liked. I then registered that as the logo as well. So I registered the name and the logo. In your country, it might be slightly different, so you'll need to look at, in the UK, you register it with the IPO. But what I will say as well is, so you can go to register a name. If another company that's of a similar kind of demographic or similar kind of genre to your company also has a similar name, they can contest your name and say that it competes with theirs, and they can choose to try and have you shut down. But what I will say, if you look out there and there is nothing in the domain name like .com, so capsuleclosetstylist.com, or if there is nothing for you know, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of those kind of areas in that particular name, then the chances are nobody is trading under that name. So I think you've got quite a good chance to get away with that. Now, what you can do is pay people to research it beforehand if that's something you want to do. So that's the next thing that you want to do. Do some research and look at what name you're going to use. Next up, you want to decide whether you are going to get someone to design a website for you or whether you're going to do something simple to yourself. You can get people to just design one page for you. I would recommend, if you're going to go down the kind of WordPress route or anything like that, I've not used Square, what's it called, Square something, I can't remember where it's dropped out of my head, but I used WordPress, but I used wordpress.org because then you can go into the back end and move it around a lot more. WordPress.com is much more pre-designed, but then you can't actually move it so much. I would, if I was you starting a business, I would start, if you're going to design your website yourself, I will go into more detail about this in another video, but I would definitely look at something that is maybe harder for you to do initially, you need to learn more initially, but has more flexibility as you grow. I'd definitely do that. And then the next thing is create social media and talk to your audience, find your audience, join Facebook groups where you know your audience what might be, and answer their questions and find out what they're asking. You know, what are their pain points, and create your content, either create a blog or social media or whatever it is around that kind of particular content, and find out who your audience is. Now, last but not least, I'm just going to talk to you about in this video, like I say, I'm going to go into much more detail in further videos, but is your niche. This is one of the most important areas. Now, people always bleated at me about niches in the beginning, and I was like, yeah, I've got my niche. It's women who want capsule wardrobes. That's my niche. It wasn't niche enough. It was nowhere near niche enough, okay? I now kind of know the age demographic. I now know they're predominantly in the States. I now know what their pain points are. So you need to niche down a lot tighter. Now, what people often say is build up who your ideal customer is. So who is she? Where does she live? Where is he? What does he do? Is he married? Blah, blah, blah. You know, that type of thing. So you create a customer profile. So at least to get started, just do those things first and subscribe to my channel. I am going to be taking you through all the mistakes that I made and each one of those areas, going into a lot more detail, and also what I have done since to actually monetize and gain an income and get a loyal fan base and customers, etc, etc. I'm going to go in a lot more detail about it, but I just wanted to give you the basis of what I feel you need to do to start your online business. So I hope you found this helpful. Definitely subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see. Let me know what stage you're at with your business, you know, even if it's just an idea you've got, or whether it's you've got to a certain point, maybe you've bought the domain name but you don't know what to do next, or blah blah blah. And if I can possibly help you, I will. Also, let me know where you'd like help with most. I always, in this line of this channel and also in my personal styling channel, I always listen to what you want, and I will develop the content of this channel based on the questions that I get. So definitely comment below. Please share with other people who you feel might also benefit from this and who are stuck in their jobs and want to start an online business as well. So have a wonderful week wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.